Hello and welcome to another discussion from Mobile Pharmacy. Today we are going to discuss about the new topic that is related to the anatomy of adrenal gland. Anatomy of adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland is also called as suprarenal gland. Why it is called so? Because it is present on the top of kidneys, and renal is related to kidney, so that's why adrenal gland is also called as suprarenal gland. Okay, when we talk about the anatomy and histology of any part of the body, so we have to discuss these headings of that tissue, organ, or cell. When we talk about the anatomy and histology of a portion of the body, the first heading is location of that organ. Location of organ. Then we talk about the features of that organ. Features of that organ. Then we discuss about the relations of that organ, means that uh, around that organ, at the superior side, at the inferior side, at anterior side, at posterior side, at the left, at right, what organs, which organs are present around that specific uh, portion of the body that we are currently discussing. So that is the relations of that organ. Relations of that organs. Then we discuss about the blood supply of that organ. Blood supply of that organ. Then we discuss about the nerve supply of that organ. Nerve supply of that organ. Okay, first I will be discussing about the location of adrenal gland. Location of adrenal gland. I will be discussing about the one by one these headings. First heading, second heading, third heading, fourth heading, fifth heading. And at last, I will discuss the histology of adrenal gland. At the end, I will discuss the histology histology of adrenal gland. Okay. Now I will discuss the location of adrenal gland. First heading. Location of adrenal gland. There are basically two adrenal glands on the top of kidneys. So there are two in number. Adrenal glands are two in numbers. Okay. These are golden yellow colored endocrine glands. These are golden yellow colored endocrine glands. Endocrine glands situated situated at the upper poles of kidney. At upper poles of kidney. So this is the location of adrenal gland. Okay. Now come towards the second heading, that is features of adrenal gland. Features features of adrenal gland. Each suprarenal gland, each suprarenal gland occupies upper pole of kidney, occupies upper pole, upper pole of kidney at the level of at level of occupies upper pore of kidney at the level of vertebral end of verti vertebral end of 12th rib. Okay, so this is the first point. Second point is the right suprarenal gland, right suprarenal gland is pyramidal pyramidal in shape and left suprarenal gland and left suprarenal gland sorry, suprarenal gland is semilunar in shape, is semilunar, is semilunar in shape. Weight of each suprarenal gland, each suprarenal gland is 5 gram. Okay. Both adrenal gland, adrenal glands or retroperitoneal organs or retroperitoneal peritoneal organs and and enclosed within renal fasciae. Fasciae is basically thin covering, thin covering of connective tissues of connective tissues around an organ. Okay. Each suprarenal gland, each suprarenal gland is 5 is about 5 millimeter in length and 30 millimeter in 30 millimeter in width. Okay, so this is about the features of adrenal gland. Okay, now I will be discussing about the blood supply of adrenal gland. Blood supply of adrenal gland. Third heading. Blood supply of adrenal gland. These suprarenal glands are highly vascular. These are highly vascular. Highly vascular, and suprarenal glands are supplied by three types of arteries. Three types of arteries. Those are going to supply the oxygenated blood to the suprarenal glands. Each gland is supplied by each gland is supplied by three sets of arteries. Artery. The first is superior suprarenal artery. Superior superior suprarenal artery. This is going to supply the oxygenated blood to the adrenal gland. The second subtype is middle suprarenal artery. Middle suprarenal artery. And the third one is inferior suprarenal artery. Inferior inferior suprarenal artery. These are further branches of certain arteries. And if I talk about the superior suprarenal artery, it is the sub branch of pharynx artery. It is a sub branch of pharynx pharynx artery. Basically, this pharynx artery is going to supply the oxygenated blood to diaphragm to diaphragm diaphragm of our body. So this superior suprarenal artery is the branch of pharynx artery. Okay, now come towards the middle suprarenal artery. This is the branch of abdominal aorta. Abdominal abdominal aorta. Aorta means the aorta which is coming downward in the abdominal region and is going to supply the blood to the abdominal region, and this middle suprarenal artery is the sub branch of abdominal aorta. Okay, and if I talk about the inferior suprarenal artery, it is the branch of renal artery. Branch of renal artery. Okay, means that the artery which is going to supply the blood to the whole regions of uh, kidneys. Okay, so these are three arteries going to supply the blood to the suprarenal glands. The first is the superior suprarenal artery, middle suprarenal artery, and inferior suprarenal artery. Superior suprarenal artery is the branch of pharynx artery, which is going to supply the blood to the diaphragm. The middle suprarenal artery, which is the branch of abdominal artery, and inferior suprarenal artery is the branch of renal artery. Okay. Now the next heading is relations of suprarenal gland. Relations of relations of suprarenal gland. Okay. Now let's suppose this is the right suprarenal gland if I talk about, and here is the left suprarenal gland, and definitely we will be talking about anterior, posterior, inferior, superior, lateral, medial, every side of the suprarenal gland, and which organs are near to this right and left suprarenal gland. Okay, the first side is anterior side, anterior side. Now then the posterior side, posterior side. Okay, now then medial side, medial side, and then inferior side. Inferior side. Okay. If I talk about the right suprarenal gland and to the anterior side of right suprarenal gland, the liver is present. Liver is present. Liver. And towards the posterior side, the diaphragm is present. Diaphragm. Diaphragm is present. And if I talk about the medial side of the right suprarenal gland, the celiac ganglia is present. Celiac, celiac ganglia is present. And if I talk about the inferior side, definitely the kidneys are present. Kidney, yes. Okay. And if I talk about the left suprarenal gland, the stomach and pancreas are present to the anterior side of suprarenal gland. Stomach, stomach, and pancreas. Okay. And to the posterior side, diaphragm is present, same as that of right. And to the medial side, celiac ganglia is present, and to the inferior side, the left kidney will be present. So only the difference here is the anterior side, and in case of right suprarenal gland, the liver is present, and in case of left suprarenal gland, the stomach and pancreas are present. Okay. Now, the next heading is the nerve supply to the adrenal, suprarenal gland. Nerve supply, nerve supply. Both suprarenal glands are innervated by preganglionic. Both suprarenal glands are supplied by preganglionic preganglionic ganglionic sympathetic fiber, sympathetic fiber derived from derived from splanchnic nerve, derived from splanchnic strengthening nerve ends in adrenal medulla. I will be discussing about the adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla when I will be discussing about the histology. Okay, so this is the nerve supply. So till we have done with the location of adrenal gland, the features of adrenal gland, and then blood supply of adrenal gland, relations of adrenal glands, nerve supply. Now I will be discussing about the histology of adrenal gland. Structure and histology of suprarenal gland. Okay, let's draw the different portions of adrenal gland. This is the adrenal gland, and it is normally enclosed by a capsule. Is enclosed by capsule which is present around the adrenal gland. This is the capsule of adrenal gland. There are two regions. There are two regions of adrenal gland. The outer region is called as adrenal cortex. There are two regions, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. This inner region is adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla. Okay. And this outer region is adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex. And this adrenal cortex is further uh, categorized into three layers. Into three layers, as I will be drawing these three layers. This outer one of the most outer covering or region of adrenal cortex is the zona glomerulosa. These might be zones or these might be regions. Zona glomerulosa. Glomerulosa. And if we go into the deeper side, then at second position there is an other zone, and that zone is called as zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. This zone is zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. Fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. And if we further go inside, we'll find the last layer which is enclosed or which is near to adrenal medulla, that is zona reticularis. Zona reticularis means this adrenal cortex is further divided into three zones. Zona glomerulosa, which is outer zone, outer zone or region. This is middle zone or middle layer, middle zone, and this is inner layer. Okay, and this inner portion is adrenal medulla. This adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla. And the adrenal medulla is composed of two types of cells because it is going to release epinephrine and norepinephrine. So adrenal medulla composed of two types of cells, adrenaline, adrenaline producing cells and noradrenaline producing cells. And both both these two types of cells are called as chromaffin cells are called as chromaffin cells. Chromaffin cells. Why these are called as chromaffin cells? Because when they are stained with potassium dichromate, they are going to give the stain of this potassium dichromate. So that's why these adrenaline and noradrenaline producing cells are called as chromaffin cells. How these cells looks like? Now I am going to draw the internal cellular features of these chromaffin cells here. These chromaffin cells looks like in this shape. So this cell looks like in this shape. In this shape. This is the histology of chromaffin cells. Let me to draw two more diagrams related to these cells. So these cells are kind of these shapes. So these are chromaffin cells. So this is all about the adrenal medulla. If I make the bigger picture of these adrenal medullary cells, so these will looks like in this shape that I have just drawn here under the chromaffin cells. This cell will be looks like in this shape. Okay. Now further I will be drawing the adrenal cortex one by one. First, I will draw zona glomerulosa, then I will draw zona fasciculata, then and I will draw zona reticularis. Okay, first let me to draw zona glomerulosa. So this looks like in this shape. That now I am going just to draw. Oh, this layer looks like in this shape, and blood vessels are present here. Okay, no, these are cells. These are the cells of zona glomerulosa. This cell looks like in this shape. This is basically the histology of these cells, and these are innervated by mm, capillaries, and these capillaries are called as sinusoidal capillaries. These are cells. These are cells, and these are capillaries. We are going to give the blood to these different layers. Same uh, type of or shape of cell are present here and here. These are the capillaries, and these capillaries are called as sinusoidal capillary. Sinusoidal capillary. Okay, so this is the zona glomerulosa. Okay, and uh, the zona glomerulosa is responsible for the release of aldosterone. Is responsible for the release of aldosterone. This is the hormone responsible for the regulation of sodium and potassium in the blood and in body. And this layer is uh, going to contribute 15% of cortex. 15% of cortex or adrenal cortex. Okay. Now I am going to draw the next layer, that is zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. Zona fasciculata. These cells basically looks like in this shape. These cells looks like in this shape and also supplied by sinusoidal capillaries. Sinusoidal capillaries. These are again sinusoidal capillaries. So these are the cells of zona fasciculata. The cells of zona fasciculata looks like in this shape. Zona fasciculata and zona fasciculata contributes for 18% of cortex. Okay. And it is responsible for the release of cortisol. Cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone released by zona fasciculata and is responsible for regulation of glucose in the body and is released in the stressful condition or under crisis. Okay. Now I will discuss the last layer, that is zona, zona reticularis. And zona reticularis looks like, or the cells of zona reticularis are irregular in shape, but these are also supplied by the sinusoidal capillaries. Irregular shape cells, but also supplied by these sinusoidal capillaries here. These are sinusoidal capillary. And these are the cells of zona reticularis. And these cells are responsible for the release of certain hormones. For example, androgens like testosterone, testosterone, and estrogen as well. Estrogen as well. This is the structure and histology of adrenal gland. These are kidneys, and on the top of kidneys, the adrenal adrenal gland are present. This is pyramidal in shape, and this is a bit semi-lunar in shape. Right, left, kidney, kidneys. So this is all about the histology and anatomy of adrenal gland. Now I am going to recap the whole scenario of adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is also called as suprarenal glands, and if we want to talk about the histology and anatomy of the any part of organ, these headings should be there. Location of that portion, cellular organ, features of that organ, relation of that organs, blood supply of that organ, nerve supply of that organ, and then histology of that organ. Because I am going to discuss about, or I am discussing about the adrenal gland, so I have written the histology of adrenal gland. Location of adrenal gland are two in number. There are golden yellow colored endocrine glands situated at the upper pole of kidney. Features of the adrenal gland. Each suprarenal gland occupies the upper pole of kidney at the level of vertebral end of the 12th rib. Right suprarenal gland is pyramidal in shape and left suprarenal gland is semilunar in shape. Weight of each suprarenal gland is 5 gram. Both adrenal gland are retroperitoneal organs and enclosed within the renal fissure. Renal fissure is any covering of connective tissues enclosing a particular organ. Each suprarenal gland is about 5 millimeter in length and 30 millimeter in width. Blood supply of adrenal gland. Highly vascular gland, and it is supplied by three sets of arteries: superior suprarenal artery, middle suprarenal artery, and inferior suprarenal artery. Superior suprarenal artery is the sub artery of phrenic artery. Middle suprarenal artery is the sub branch of abdominal aorta, and inferior suprarenal artery is the branch of renal artery. Relations of suprarenal gland. The anterior side of right suprarenal gland is occupied by liver, middle side by diaphragm, posterior side by diaphragm, medial side by celiac ganglia, and inferior side by kidneys. And in case of left suprarenal gland, stomach is stomach and pancreas, and posterior side by diaphragm, middle side by celiac ganglia, and inferior side by again left kidney. If I draw here, stomach is there, then pancreas is there. In case of right, the liver is present to the anterior side. Stomach and pancreas in case of left suprarenal gland. Okay. Now then, nerve supply. Both suprarenal glands are supplied by preganglionic sympathetic fiber derived from splanchnic nerve ends in the adrenal medulla. Structure and histology of a suprarenal gland. Suprarenal gland is composed of two layers, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla is composed of two types of cells, adrenaline producing cells and noradrenaline producing cells, and both these kind of cells are called as chromatin cells. Why these are called so? Because they give uh, the dye of potassium dichromate when they are stained. So that's why they are called as chromatin cells. Adrenal cortex is further composed of the three layers or three zones: zona fasciculata, zona glomerulosa, and zona reticularis. Zona glomerulosa looks like in this shape. Zona fasciculata looks like in this shape, and zona reticularis looks like in this shape. It contributes 50%, 15%, it contributes 80%, and the zona reticularis contribute very little, only 5% of adrenal cortex. So this is the very detailed anatomy and histology of adrenal gland. If you people like this lecture, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share. Might it, it might be a little bigger one, but I apologize for that. Thank you very much for your people's attention, everyone's attention.